Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be solving some random limit questions. Well, they're not very random too much because we're going to use the specific rules. So in this video, we're going to be finding limits with a graph, finding limits using algebraic manipulation, specifically using trigonometric rules and radicals. So in the first question over here, they gave us this graph of f of x and they told me to find limit as x tends to -2 for f of x. So according to the composite rule, whenever you have a limit like this, you can change it to be inside of the first f, which is like this. So now we want to find limit as x tends to -2 for f of x. Now here's the thing. If you zoom in closely over here, at -2 from the both sides, that means like at -2 positive and -2 negative, they're both approaching 3. However, since we have a white dot over here, that means it will never reach the value of 3. So we could say that the limit as x is going to -2 for f of x is going to be 3 minus. Or you want to say like 3 minus is as in 2.9999. You could also say that. So if you're looking at 3 minus, so we're not looking at 3 exactly. We're looking like slightly to the left. Let's say that this is 2.9999. So which means where's the function over here? It means it is going down at -2. Okay, so in another situation, if this dot was actually colored, then this would have been f of 3, and then it would take you to the colored dot over here, which would be +2. Just a what if situation. Moving on to the second question. Limit as x tends to 9, x minus 9, square root of x minus 3. So for each question, I'm going to note down the skill that is required for you to use in order to solve this question. For this question, the skill that we are going to use is basically called conjugate. Conjugate multiplication, or just conjugates. Anyways, what is the skill? Every single time you have square roots in the denominator, you must multiply by the same exact denominator, but you need to flip the sign in the middle. That's basically the skill. So basically what I'm going to do over here to solve this limit is to multiply up and down by the square root of x plus 3 over the square root of x plus 3. Therefore, I will have x minus 9, square root of x plus 3. Now, if you notice in the denominator, it is basically a minus b, which is going to be multiplied by a plus b. So the other skill that we're going to use is basically a squared minus b squared, which will be a minus b, a plus b. So we can change it to a squared minus b squared, which is going to give me square root of x to the power of 2, which is going to be x. So let me just write it again here, minus 3 to the power of 2, which is going to be 9. So the square root of x to the power of 2 is going to be x. So I'm going to erase it and write x. Now I can eliminate, hold on, just let me repeat the limit over here. X is going to 9. So x minus 9 and x minus 9 can be crossed out, and you will be left with limit as x is going to 9, square root of x plus 3. So just with simple substitution right now, square root of 9 plus 3 is going to be 3 plus 3, which will be 6. So 2 skills over here, and this is all it takes. Number 3, limit as x is going to 0 for cosine x minus 1 over sine squared x. Now, in order to solve this, the skill that we are required to know is basically cosine squared x plus sine squared x equals to 1. Now, the reason why we're going to do that, or the reason why I thought of that, is because, first of all, in the denominator, we have sine squared x, and over here I have sine squared x. And in the numerator, I have cosine x and 1, and over here I have 1 and cosine squared x. So this is how it all bands in together. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to substitute sine squared x with 1 minus cosine squared x. So I'm just going to move the cosine squared x over here, and then it would be 1 minus cosine squared x instead of the sine squared x. Now, the second skill that we're going to use is going to be similar, or actually the same as the skill we're going to use over here, that we used actually over here, which is a squared minus b squared is a minus b, a plus b. Where is it? It is over here, a squared minus b squared. So what is a squared minus b squared? It is going to be a minus b, a plus b. So limit as x is going to 0, cosine x minus 1 over 1 minus cosine x, 1 plus cosine x. So in order to cross simplify over here, we notice that cosine x minus 1 and 1 minus cosine x are literally the same thing but flipped signs. So when you cross them out, you will be left with a minus 1 rather than a 1 because they're the opposite terms. So limit as x is going to 0 for minus 1 over 1 plus cosine x. Now we can safely substitute the 0 instead of x. So minus 1 over 1 plus 1 because cosine 0 is 1. So it will be minus 1 over 2. Number 4, first skill. It's the fact that cotangent x is cosine x over sine x. And the second skill is basically cosecant x is 1 over sine x. Now, at the end of this video, I will show you more information about trigonometry, not like the questions, but rather than just the skills themselves. Like, for example, tan, secant, and the others. Now, back to the question. We're going to substitute what we have as skills over here with what we have over here. So, limit as x is going to 0. Cotangent 3x is going to be cosine 3x over sine 3x. All of this is over 3 multiplied by 1 over sine 2x. Now, remember the rule that we mentioned in the previous video, which is basically that when x is going to 0, then sine 3x can be seen as 3x and sine 2x can be seen as 2x. So it will be limit as x is going to 0, cosine 3x over 3x over 3 times 1 over 2x. Now, according to algebra, if you have a fraction over another fraction, then you can simplify according to their position. Like the numerator can only simplify the numerator and the denominator can only simplify the other denominator. So we can actually simplify the x with the x because they're both denominators in their respective position. So denominator over here, denominator over here, they can be simplified. So then you will be left with cosine 3x over 3 over 3. 3 times 1 is just going to be 3. So 3 over 2. Replace x with 0. So cosine 0 on the top is going to be just 1. So 1 over 3 divided by 3 over 2. So if you do this on a calculator, you will get 2 over 9. Okay? Last question over here. Similar to the question before, the skills over here that we are going to use as well is going to be cosine squared x plus sine squared x equals 1. Now, over here though, in the previous question, sorry, not this question, this one, number 3. In this question, we noticed that we have cosine x and we have 1. So I decided to have like similar elements in the denominator by changing sine squared x into 1 minus cosine squared x. But if you look at this question, I have cosine x and I have sine x in the numerator. I don't have a 1. So what I'm going to do, instead of changing the sine squared x and putting it as 1 minus cosine squared x, I'm going to actually change the 1 over here and replace it with cosine squared x plus sine squared x. Just so I can have cosine and sine in the denominator, because maybe it would lead me somewhere, you know? So limit as x is going to pi over 4 cosine x minus sine x over cosine squared x plus sine squared x, which is going to take the place of the 1, minus 2 sine squared x. Now, sine squared x minus 2 sine squared x is just going to leave me with 1 sine squared x. So x is going to pi over 4 cosine x minus sine x over cosine squared x minus sine squared x. Once again, we are going to use the skill a squared minus b squared. So this is my a squared, this is my b squared. So a minus b, a plus b. Notice how I'm rewriting the word limit every single time. It's very important. Over cosine x minus sine x, a minus b, a plus b. Then we can simplify, and then we would be left with 1 over cosine x plus sine x. Now, if you replace pi over 4, so 1 over cosine pi over 4 is basically square root of 2 over 2. And sine pi over 4 is going to be square root of 2 over 2, which is going to be 1 over 2 square root of 2 over 2, which will be 1 over square root of 2, which is in fact also square root of 2 over 2. But you can just do it on a calculator and it will give you the answer. So before we end this video, I just want to remind you about some identities for trigonometry. So tan x, which didn't appear in this video, is sine x over cosine x. Secant x is basically 1 over cosine x. And we did the cosecant, we did the cotangent. Is there anything else? Yeah, that's basically it. Thank you for watching, guys. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. I will be uploading again soon today, trying to explain vertical and horizontal asymptotes, limit at infinities, and infinite limits. Thank you.